say, kids, what time is it?
And hello, campers.
Ooh, camper.
We are here the day after Turkey Day.
Yes.
We've recorded in episode 3, and this is episode 4.
I'm excited.
I'm full.
I'm Alan. I'm full. Are you stuffed like a turkey on Thanksgiving?
Not through that orifice, but
Oh, holy hell.
Oh, Jesus.
Let's reset this. Welcome to Geek Time and the GeekTime Network. I'm your host today, Shitty Beef. I am with Shitty Chicken, Mr. Keith Larson.
Hello, hello.
I am with Mr. Paul Heriot. And I am with Mr. Peter Bradley.
hi.
I still want you to talk in Bill Cosby's voice.
I can try to do the whole show when we talk about the streaming and we talk about
Never
the
mind.
monster movies and we talk about the film Auteurs. Oh, I just spoiled what we're going to talk about, you see.
We should
Thanks a lot, Bill.
We
I
should
love it.
all come up with a character that we could somewhat imitate well and just do the show as that.
That's a good idea.
That's a really good
And
idea.
say who we are.
Who are you going to do, Paul?
I think it'll be James Mason. Hello. That'll be me.
That was not expected.
Wow, that
Mr.
was
Thornhill.
really-
Yes.
That's great.
I don't know what I would do.
I'd be like stupid and stuff.
I'm very bad at impressions, so. But anyway, yeah, we are going to talk about a few things today. But first, let me remind everybody that if you're interested, and hopefully you will be, check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at GeekTime Net. What's going on here? What's happening?
That was so great. That Bill Cosby thing was so
Oh, yeah, Bill Cosby. Fine, Bill. Thanks for stealing my thunder.
Excuse me, does this cloth smell like chloroform to you?
Okay, now we're in trouble.
Okay, I'm problematic.
Problematic. And our website is geektimenetwork.com. So Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter is GeekTime Net.
Yes.
And our website is geektimenetwork.com. Please visit. We want to grow. I'm not going to go there. We just want to grow.
I'm not saying anything.
man.
We
I'm
just
not
wanna
saying
grow.
nothing.
We just want to grow. Okay.
By the
Here
way,
we go.
you're not problematic, Pete. We will extend your contract for stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Do I get double my pay?
Of zero?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yay!
Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about today is somebody had this bright idea of talking about modern day cinema auteur. So first of all, what is an auteur? What do we mean by that?
Are you going to give us the clinical definition, or do we do the philosophical definition?
I think we need to do a little bit of both.
Well, for me,
Okay.
I think of an auteur as more of an independent. I mean, they're granted they release big budget films that, like, say, Chris Nolan, but in the spirit of independent filmmaking, they're their own writer, director, sometimes producer.
Mhm.
It's a singular vision, is my point, which we don't have a lot of anymore. Now it's all these movies made by corporate boardrooms, and
Like the Marvel movies.
like the Marvel movies. You bring in sensitivity readers to make sure that group's not offended and that group's not offended, and the
Yeah.
whole thing gets homogenized down to just a corporate piece of crap.
It's basically art by committee. I mean, when Da Vinci or Michelangelo were making their artwork, they didn't have a group of people saying, "Hey, could you make that color a little bit, or could you make that penis a little bit larger?"
But don't forget,
That use of orange might trigger someone.
the church was watching them all the time.
The church was watching
Michelangelo
them.
was fighting with the church all the time,
Okay, well,
throwing brushes at them.
he was throwing brushes at, but
I understand what you
get
mean.
the yes. So, and you're right, Keith. So an auteur is a filmmaker whose individual style, they have complete control over all elements of the production. They have control over it. So somebody comes along and they say, we really want you to direct this film. They'll say something along the lines of, sure, I'd be happy to direct this film, but we do it my way.
Correct.
Or no way. A lot of times that works out pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the problem is that sometimes someone comes along and they make a great movie. They make a fantastic movie.
Mm-hmm.
They make an incredible movie. And so the next time they want to be an auteur, and they get said, we're going to do another movie, and I want complete control. And it's a problem. And who do we know that
this happened to?
That this happened to?
Two people I can think of right off the bat are Lucas and Spielberg.
Well,
I'm actually thinking Orson Welles because the first
there
time,
you go.
Because the first time he got creative control, he made something that basically brought Hollywood to its knees. And if you can ever find, and I think the series Mank on Netflix.
Yes, it's a movie. It's a movie.
It's a movie about it's about the making of Citizen Kane.
Correct.
The things that he did with Citizen Kane were just absolutely no-nos to do.
Yeah.
And so that he never got creative control again.
no. I was thinking of M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong.
Ah, yes.
Okay. Yep. Sixth Sense.
Sixth Sense.
Yeah, The Sixth Sense.
And then he had Unbreakable, and then Signs was, as much as I like Signs, it became a commercial,
right.
a very Hollywood movie.
Well, I mean, even after Sixth Sense, even Unbreakable wasn't the same.
Well, Unbreakable still had that independent feel and grit to it.
But in terms of a success,
not successful at all.
I'm trying to say that he had a very successful experience. We all did watching The Sixth Sense, him making it. It was fantastic. And then he said, okay, here, you control this next movie. And while it was okay, you can see that the subsequent movies, they were just not good.
Well, but Unbreakable was still all his voice.
It was his voice.
By the time he got to the third one, Signs, there was clearly more of a studio, I think, influence on Signs. It felt more like a summer popcorn movie than one of his first two.
I would like to know more about that. I was just simply throwing out a basic example. But so I guess the question is, who do we like? Who are our auteurs?
Well, I think the poster child for modern day auteurs is Quentin Tarantino. I mean, there's no question. The guy does whatever the hell he wants. He does it beyond capably. I mean, his movies are masterpieces. There's not a bad one in the bunch. Some could argue Death Proof.
Yeah.
Death Proof's a little weak, but it was part of that Grindhouse double feature he did with Rodriguez, so we can kind of let it slide. But that's the first one that pops into my head.
I would go back to probably Bill Forsythe, he did Local Hero.
Oh, yeah.
And, that was the start of it for me. I mean, that came in, and then he did, was one after that, Sweet Dreams, and there was one more after that, Georgie's Girl, I think. But he was Scottish director, producer. He was quite the dude.
Well, going back to that era, you had Woody Allen.
Yep.
He's
definitely considered an auteur.
And David Lynch, so we've always had, Lucas and Spielberg were at one point. Lucas still is more than Spielberg. Spielberg became part of the studio system more.
Right.
Later in his career.
He basically created a studio system of his own.
Correct. But you look at Spielberg's early work, with Jaws, or start with like Sugarland Express, Jaws, Close Encounters, up through E.T. And then it started to shift. He became more of the industry, being more part of the mainstream industry. He was almost required to make a giant tentpole movie to make the studio a lot of money at that point. He wasn't so much being creative anymore as being expected to just turn huge profits.
Yeah, and a lot of this should show you how good it was. I can't even remember the title. It was a spy movie with Tom Hanks.
Bridge of Spies.
Thank you very much. That one, it didn't feel like a Spielberg movie. It was very formulaic. There was a big tension at the end. Will they or won't they? Type of thing. Is the hostage going to get released? Spoilers. Is the hostage going to get released, or isn't he? And the music swells. They're heavy on the string sections. There's lots of close-ups of eyes by the numbers, and sure enough, right on cue, 1, 2, 3, there he is walking out of the fog.
Yeah, I felt that way when I saw The Post as well.
Yeah, that's another one.
The Post felt very paint by numbers too.
It was well done.
Right, well done. It's a good movie. It's it's definitely a makes you think, and it's engaging, but it felt paint by numbers to me.
Yeah, and he's no longer Steven Spielberg. He's no longer who Steven Spielberg used to be. There's the tension and the wonder. It just isn't there. When you see the ship coming up over the mountaintop in Close Encounters, that's when you get some serious awe. Like, oh my God, look at this thing. And it's not there anymore.
I think the last, I know you love this, the last really great, to me, Spielberg movie that caught me by surprise and blew me away was Catch Me If You Can.
Yes.
I agree.
because it felt like it was a small, gritty, like I didn't even know he's making this thing. It just comes out and it was such a huge surprise to me.
It wasn't a typical Spielberg movie.
Right. It was a cat and mouse movie.
Yeah.
Right. But I have to say that a lot of his movies feel like they're, by the group, group efforts. I feel like the last one, even Jaws, it was a very grassroots movie. Mm-hmm. Jaws was, and so in that way, he was an auteur. But I think his swan song for that genre of film was Empire of the Sun, because that movie was what you think about when you think about a movie that's made by someone. Not a lot. It's like the penultimate U.S. independent film. Mm-hmm. Like we were used to seeing, very little dialogue. John Malkovich and
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale, and lots of basic imagery.
Yeah.
That tell a story. Beautiful shots. Yep. And that's what he sort of, we didn't mean to turn this into a Steven Spielberg thing, but the guy picked up a movie camera when he was, 10 years old or whatever, and looked through that lens and had these visions. And when I think about a great movie, like from him, I think about that one.
I think about all his early stuff. I mean, his early stuff you can watch over and over and over. His modern stuff feels almost, not to use the term again, paint by numbers, or even that he's just not pushing back against the studio as hard as he used to, because he's up in years and he's got plenty of FU money. He doesn't care. The passion's been taken from him. The independent filmmaker is gone.
Yeah.
And I think too that in his world, he wants to just give people an opportunity to shine. I feel like he's surrounded himself with all different kinds of people. And he says, let's see if this works. Let's see if this will work. Hit or miss sort of a thing. Mm. But, to jump to another auteur besides, Tarantino, I really like Christopher Nolan.
Yeah. That's actually what I was going to say too.
I'm sorry.
No. You brought him up. Run with it.
Christopher Nolan is just like, I don't know where this guy came from. Really. I just really like I don't know how to describe it. I guess I really like the subtlety with the way in which he tells a story. There's lots of stuff that he's done, but it all has the same sort of inside track tone to things.
Yeah, I mean, it started with Memento, where he told the story backwards. Memento, is still one of his best films, I think.
Clever.
He's very unconventional.
Yeah,
it's with Interstellar and
Tenet.
and Tenet. Those are very unconventional stories.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely got his own unique voice. One thing I don't like about him sometimes, and you got to take the good with the bad with Chris Nolan, is lately his audio mixes have been designed to purposely create confusion. And I don't know if that's for repeat business. So you have to keep going back to try to figure out what the hell people are doing and saying. But I've noticed that, it started with the third Batman movie, and it seems like it's been in every movie since. You get sometimes the music and sound effects are overpowering dialogue.
And like Bane, he
couldn't understand a word.
So difficult to understand.
Right, exactly. You now have my permission to come back and pay another ticket. For me, one of my favorite modern day auteurs, Tarantino. I mean, do we all agree?
Of course.
He's all by himself on the Mount Rushmore and everybody else is just a notch below. I have two. Paul can speak to one of them better than I can. Guy Ritchie, that'll be his. I was going to
mention him.
And mine is David Fincher. I just want to say, and you want to talk about Mank? That's his next project is Mank. And
that's David Fincher.
David Fincher, just a brilliant director. And I saw it right away with Alien 3, as indistinguished of a movie it is. What stuck out to me was the direction. And I remember walking out and going, the movie was terrible, but the director was fantastic. And I remember saying that. And I made a note that it was David Fincher, and I've followed him ever since.
How did that translate to you on the screen, that you didn't like the movie, but you liked the director?
Everything else that came across really well done. The performances were well done. The camera movements, the suspense was built. I mean, you could see he took a script that was a retread of the first Alien movie again. I mean, it was hard to create suspense where you know what's going to happen.
Yeah, the guy puts his hands in the goo and
I wonder what's going to happen.
Right. Oh, look, what's this? Or if they find the skin on the ground and it's like, come on, we've seen this already. It was really deftly directed. And I remember just walking out of the theater going, yeah, that was a bad movie, but wow, that director, he's got a future.
Yeah, right. And considering all of the studio interference that he had to
deal with,
to go uphill against.
And he was brand new at the time. So,
yeah, he did.
Guy Ritchie.
What can you say about Guy Ritchie? He was the English version of Tarantino in a way. Except I liked his directing much better. He's sometimes faster paced, and he was much more creative. And I think his writing was fabulous. It is fabulous.
Yeah.
I mean, even the new one, The Gentleman, there's a lot of twist and turn. On my top 5, definitely one would be Snatch. And the other definitely be Rock and Roller.
I think the Snatch, Rock and Roll, and Lock, Stock, those 3 are by far his best, even though I like the Sherlock Holmes movies he's done.
Yes.
But you're right. His visual, when Snatch came out, that visual storytelling dynamic was brand new. And he kind of set the tone for that. And
just the beginning, just the way.
The visual, yeah.
Oh, my God. Introducing the characters. All his characters, the character development is 150%. Every character, the bad guys, you loved them. You love the good guys. Even the dog. You loved him.
You know who's not on the list, and maybe I'm wrong for suggesting this, but I really like Jon Favreau. He's written some.
He's a studio guy.
He is a studio guy, but he's written some stuff, and he's also produced and directed some stuff.
Singles.
Great. Lots of stuff. Chef
is a really fantastic movie.
It's a really fantastic movie, yeah. And he also did. I'm drawing a blank, but
Swingers.
I see him come up, but not only as and he's an actor.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, he's like a triple threat.
Yeah,
it's like
I think with him though, he gets lumped in because he's in the Disney system. He's doing Star Wars and Marvel and Cowboys and Aliens and Lion King and all that stuff. So you're right though. I mean, his independent film work. If you pull that out, you pull out Chef and Swingers and those things. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Now, can Martin Scorsese be?
Oh yeah, he's definitely an auteur.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, he's on the list.
All right, good.
All those guys from the '70s. You had Scorsese and Coppola and Lucas and all those guys from that era.
Yeah. Cameron Crowe,
Cameron Crowe's a good one. I mean, we could go on. We should just do a whole show about auteur directors at some point because we're out of time.
We're out of time. I think the question is, why is it important? Why are they important? And why do we want to watch them? Why are we talking about it here?
I think they walk the tightrope. They go out. They do things that you go, all right, is it going to fall? Well, how's this going to go? They don't play it safe.
They're unconventional.
Yeah, they don't play it safe. That's a great way of putting it. It's not this typical studio drudgery where it's just Spielberg paint by the numbers,
right?
This shot, then this shot, then this shot, then this shot. Pay me your $10. Thank you very much. What's the next one?
The characters are more important than anything else in their stories, and that's where the root of the genesis of their projects take hold, and that's why they're successful. I think
that another reason why they're successful, they do take risks, but I was actually going to say they have such a vision. They can see the whole thing long before they direct something, long before they pick up a camera. They can vision it, and it's in their head, whether it's in their head in words or whether it's in their head in visuals, and then they translate that nicely to what we see on the screen. And I think, and that takes courage, and it takes some skill. I don't want to use the word talent because I believe personally everyone's talented in some way. It's just finding what your talent is. But they have a skill for communication. I think that's what makes a big difference.
That's a great way to put a little bow on this. You just brought it all the way back full circle. It's one person's vision, not a giant committee.
We'll be back.
If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up below. Also, please subscribe to GeekTime TV. It really helps us grow the channel. And make sure you hit that bell icon in order to receive notifications every time we drop new content here. You can also check us out on social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at GeekTimeNet. Thanks again for watching. We will see you soon.
Say, kids, what time is that?